Okay, we're going to be watching Blitzeon playing Rammatra, Reinhardt, and Zarya. This is Diamond 2 on PC. Hi, I was looking for a VOD review for a Diamond tank. Truth be told, my tank very much feels like my worst role at the moment. Their other ranks are DPS is Masters 5 and GM is 5, or support is GM 5 rather, so really, really good. My tank very much feels like my worst role at the moment. I've been constantly tank gapped hard. I'm not entirely sure if I can contribute to my lack of recent uh, I'm not entirely sure if I can contribute to my lack of recent play on the tank or another factor. Nonetheless, I hope a possible VOD review can pinpoint any of these glaring issues that may be present. My main issues I believe I have include bad awareness, when to peel for the backline, balancing aggression, mechanics of tanks, knowing when to ignore the tank. The tank is really not the best. Any tips would be gladly appreciated. Okay, so I've already done a pre-watch of this. I would say your Zarya looks pretty good. I think your Rammatra looks okay, and I think your Rein looks not so good, though you don't necessarily play the Rein in a great situation. So, probably your main focus is probably on your Rammatra because that's when you started at. So I assume that's the one you're really trying to learn. So we'll try to focus on that more. Start this. We're gonna spam, pretty normal. One thing to think about here, I mentioned this a lot in my own Rammatra videos, is that Rammatra does 100 damage per second with the staff and 80 damage per second in Nemesis form. So against tanks, where you basically shouldn't miss any of the attacks, you actually do more damage with the staff than you do with punching. And that's before you even factor in headshots, right? Headshotting would double your damage, so you could do up to 200 damage per second on a tank. Extremely unlikely, but like you get like maybe 25 to 50% of the way there. So you're gonna do like 125 to 150 DPS. Pretty good damage, right? That's really good damage against tanks. It's not a joke. So when I'm fighting tanks, if I'm full health and I don't need Nemesis form and there's nobody else that I can punch, I try to stay in mage form as long as I can. And one of the things I notice is that you're kind of swapping to the Nemesis form too early, in my opinion, when you could get another full clip, let's call it, full magazine, right, of staff out. I think it's worth it to get that extra damage, and it often forces out more cooldowns. The other thing that we're going to notice here is that your vortexes, especially on defense, I think your defense goes really poorly, and your offense is great up until the final point, where I think you just have struggled with Havana as the map. So, watch it right here. You're going to spam. One thing to remember is Nemesis form reloads your staff automatically when you come back out of it. So you should basically, ideally, from an optimal damage per second situation, like from efficiency, is you should empty out your whole staff and then pop Nemesis. That way you come back with a full staff and you can start attacking again. So like right there, like just the little thing where you give up this corner. You have 60 ammo right now? Why? Just keep shooting, right? Just keep shooting right here. You'll break the shield. The Widow is not a threat to you. Okay, not realistically, you're not gonna die to a Widow. Like you're nearly full health. Like theoretically, she can hit you, do like 300 damage, and like make you almost die. But it's very unlikely that she's gonna aim at you. So your staff aim, not so great. It gets, I think, better as time goes on. But you're like all over the place in this one with the tracking. I think you're not used to the delay on it, which is fair. It definitely takes some getting used to. You pop Nemesis right here when you have 50 ammo left. Okay, so again, not really using the whole staff. I think it's worth it to try to shoot him out and force like a shield or some other reaction out. Because now he saves Rock for Nemesis. So this Sigma, the other tank, I would say knows what they're doing for sure. Looking at their play, like I wouldn't be surprised if they were actually like low masters or whatever, because it looks to me like the tank really knows what they're doing, and they feel, to be blunt, better than you are at tank, which is, you kind of mentioned that and talked about the tank gap. But they do a lot of things correctly in this game, which is one of the reasons why you have so much trouble against them. So again, I think shield would have been, or spamming the staff would have been worth it. You see how low the shield is? The shield would have broken if you spammed out the rest of that ammo. Okay, the shield has 180 health left, so you had plenty of ammo to break the shield. And if you break the shield, your team can help you more, right? Your Mei, your Ana, etc. can all help you. And they may not be prioritizing breaking the shield as much as you. But if you break the shield, then they can help you and do a lot more in that situation. So you get Rock back. Again, good Rock, because then it ends up kind of disrupting some of your timing. And now you know there's a Sombra in the game. You kind of ignore her, which I think is fine. She obviously wasn't doing anything against you. You put the shield down. I think the shields come down too early. Okay? You don't want to just shield off everything, because your shield lasts for such a short window. It's not like Sigma shield, where you can kind of keep it up a lot of the time. For Rammatra shield, you only get 4 seconds with, I don't know what the uptime is off the top of my head, 13 seconds, right? We can see it at the bottom right. So that's 4 seconds out of 13, so that's about 1/3 of the time that you can have shield up, which is pretty low, right? It's the lowest of all the shield, of Rein and Sigma for sure. I think Winston's in that ballpark. I think Winston Bubble lasts a really long time, but doesn't have as much health. So rather than popping the shield so early, at this point, I've done some damage, and I want to just stay here, just shoot the shield. Okay? Sigma does very, very little damage. That's something to recognize. Sigma only does 73 damage a second, so less damage than your punches do. And that's assuming he's hitting directs with every single one, which is quite hard for Sigma, even on tanks. So I think my perspective here is just keep spamming this, try to break the shield. Once the shield is down, the Sigma is so much more vulnerable. And you just don't do a good enough job breaking the shield. Again, your shield right now, not necessary at all. So, talking about Vortex, you toss this Vortex, you very clearly, like, this isn't like a miss. It's not like you're aiming for the Sigma and you accidentally throw it to the right. You very clearly toss it to the right. I'm not sure why, but it's obviously not a great Vortex, you know? He comes out of it right away. I would, in general, save Vortex to use in combination with your teammates or your own attacks. So, for example, I mean, there's not great targets here, so I would just save it for a little longer. But, like, if the Sigma overextends, right, it gets low, then I would pop Vortex, and then if you grass, then punch him. Okay? Or you toss Vortex over here and start shooting the Widow, even from this distance with a staff, which is quite dangerous to her, and forces her to stop peeking. So those are better usages, because the Vortex only does 15 damage a second, which is really, really low. So meleeing does 30 damage a second, for perspective. So it's not great. You really shouldn't spam it. It has a long cooldown, too, a 12-second cooldown. You really shouldn't spam it just for damage. Very lucky you didn't eat that rock. So now you're getting low, and you're like, hey, why am I not being healed? So the reason that you're not being healed is because this Widow goes up, right? Ana gets distracted by that, backs off the corner, and you see how she can't heal you initially because you're through the shield. And I'm just going to play this out from the vertical view to just show you what kind of happens. So you're punching here, you're probably confused why you're not getting healing. The Ana's trying to push the Widow off the angle, then you get killed, and the Ana never gets a chance to heal you. Again, the angle that you were playing, right, over here, she cannot heal you unless she steps all the way out, which she doesn't want to do because there's a Widow looking at her, which is totally fair, right? Like, if she steps there, she's going to die. So either the Ana would have to go all the way to the left and try to heal you, or you had to swing wider out here to get a chance for the Ana to heal you. And you kind of don't, like, I know it's going to look like, hey, the Widow ends up kind of causing this teamfight to go south, right? But the Widow's able to do so much because you're not doing enough to push back the opposing tank. The opposing tank is constantly moving you backwards over and over and over again. Like, you should very strongly try to hold this corner as long as you possibly can. And, for example, tossing Vortex up here would be super helpful, right? The Widow doesn't want to stand in Vortex. Even at 50 damage a second, she doesn't want to stand in it for like 5 seconds or whatever, however long it lasts. Like, it's gonna suck. It makes it easier for her to get hit, too. So if you had Vortex here, just chucking it into this window would itself force the Widow to go back. That, in combination with better staff usage and better shield usage, would have helped you put so much more pressure on the Sigma, which would have forced the Sigma back, which would help force the Widow back, and then ultimately, like, you don't get this, like, kind of domino effect of problems, which result in you losing this point. So you're going to run back. Ideally, you should get a second contest here. This is one of the reasons why you, like, fight really, really hard for that first corner, to make sure that you can get a second contest here. It's usually not a great contest, but you can get a contest here. You're waiting. I would not keep reloading right now because it's making sound so they know where you are. I would think, hey, I really want to get this contest as much as I possibly can because it's possible they're verging in ultimates. Like, I want to force, so for Sigma's 91%, right? I want Sigma to farm ulti in this fight and use Flux to win the fight. That way I don't have to deal with Flux in the next fight. That's my perspective, is I really, really want to force this fight as long as there's any chance. I don't want to just suicide and die, right? Just running up right here and dying like right away is not going to do anything because they're not going to use ultimates, right? I have to make a credible threat to contest the cart. That's when they'll start popping ultimates. So you really need to set up here to be ready to contest the cart. Number one is just, it's like a little silly of you to be spamming this right now, right? Making sound for them to hear you, number one. Number two is you could have played up here at this Mega and put some pressure, which might have kept the Sigma, for example, right here, instead of being over here, which is really hard. Number three, you could have set up in this room instead, which gives you a much shorter run to the point. Or number four, you could have set up high and then jumped out here, which is a virtually guaranteed like contest. There's no way for them to functionally stop you from getting out of the point from that way. So you have a lot of options here that are not standing at this corner just spamming reloading. I don't know if you're being indecisive here about whether to contest this or not, but I think contesting here is the right call. Okay, like hypothetically, let's say I was like hiding up here, I would just run out right last second. Throw down shield, throw out vortex, try to zap people, right? Pop nemesis. As soon as they all start focusing me, I just hold block here and just wait, right? Just wait, be like, okay, cool. Like, force them to try to kill me, because at that point, my supports will have caught up to me, and maybe they can save me. Probably I still die, but hopefully I force something out for this. Right? Again, another Vortex doesn't do anything. Again, think about it. Like, the card's going to cap anyway, so there's no way you're going to turn this corner. Like, even if this Vortex is dead on, like, let's say hypothetically this Vortex is, like, on this Sigma, it's not going to do anything, right? They've already capped. Like, you're already giving up this angle no matter what. So, I don't know if you watched my Havana guide. I would strongly recommend taking high ground. I would strongly recommend taking high ground. As usual for virtually every single map. Sigma's here. This is one of the reasons why you don't Nemesis right away, is because then he rocks you and then you lose a lot of time from your Nemesis, right? Because you lose 1 second from getting stunned and knocked back, but then you lose another second to try to just catch up to him. So try to avoid that situation where you get rocked out of Nemesis so often. He pops Flux now. This is really a Temple ultimate. So right here, you throw shield. The correct call is actually probably not to back through the door, because you should die here. I think he misses this attack. Yeah, he misses one of the attacks, which is the only reason why you don't die here. The correct move after throwing shield right down, seeing the Sigmas here coming down, is to walk through it. The reason being is that it's very hard. Sigma has like a relatively slow projectile. It's kind of hard for him to get the right angle to hit through the shield, and your Moira is here. So stepping to the other side of the shield allows your Moira to heal you, which allows you to stay alive longer, which possibly allows you to kill the Sigma, and then kills all their momentum. You get lit up here. So I think you're fighting way too much right now, considering the fact that you're down 2 players. Right? You're like not keeping track of the kill feed. You're down 2 right now. You should be in like get out mode. But now they're on top of you. You're probably in die mode. So this delay is really going to cost you, because now you only really get 1 fight on the second point instead of getting 2. So the default rule for points, for payload points, is you get 2 fights per point. Right? 2 fights for first, 2 fights for second, 2 fights for third. Sometimes, depending on the map design and exactly when the fights happen, like you can get like a half contest where you trickle in of like a few team members, but like full 5-on-5 team fights, you get 2 fights per point if you're doing it correctly. This is why, for example, if you don't contest this cart until it gets all the way over here, you're only going to get 1 fight, because by the time you spawn, they will have capped it. This is why it's so important for you to take this high ground right here and force that early fight in this room. Like, you should fight, you should like basically win or die before the cart is able to get past here, right? Like this point, maybe this point is like the absolute latest that you can do that. Again, forcing out ultimates using your high ground advantage. Because you forced this fight outside an alley, which is really bad for you at a really bad angle, where your team couldn't really help you, and you weren't able to do very much, you've now ceded high ground and choke point control to the enemy, which is why it's so hard for you to get out of this, right? When you die is so important. Such an important part of playing tank is recognizing, like, it's okay. Sometimes it's fine to just die quickly, reset, and go again. You're trying a little too hard to like stretch out lives where your survival is only hurting your cause. You're gonna come through here, you shield this, I understand this. As soon as I see the Sombra start EMPing, I immediately walk to the right, because standing in front here means I die. My teammates might die too, but like I'm guaranteed gonna die being a giant target in the front here. You should have immediately gone to the right away. You stay in front, you get lit up, you die. Realistically, you probably die anyway. Yeah, you probably die anyway. Yeah, so unfortunate. And as you can see, you did not get a single 5v5 team fight on the second point because of like when you died. Very, very, very important to recognize. Like, you never get a true, real contest on the second point. This is another example of a spam vortex. Like, you don't even need ultimate right now, right? You already have ultimate. It's like, what's the point? By the way, over here, if you had been really good and recognized that EMP was coming, I think that you could have thrown vortex here initially, right? And then spammed like just a little bit and then popped ulti before this began. That would have been a very hard read, and I do not know that I would have made that read, but something to note. So, last point of Havana is pretty tricky. Obviously, you want to make sure your last fight happens at gate, right? Gate's like the strongest part of this map. the first fight, you can choose to have it happen at tower, or more commonly, you can choose to have it somewhere around the bridge. If you run all the way over to their spawn, though, it can be very, very hard to win this fight because they just have a lot of space to kite you. You're not doing a great job tracking here. You pop Nemesis first. So you're going to end up Annihilation, popping Ultimate here, which I don't think is a great call. So you've already forced them back. You've already gotten a pick. So this fight's won. You know, like the fight's already over. Like it's a 5-on-4. You know, you have momentum. You're walking into the opposing team. Like you're good. They pop Nano here. The correct call would just be just shield, like turn around, shield, and just walk away. That's the best thing you could possibly do right now because you're gonna deny the value from Nano by doing nothing. You popping Annihilation in reaction to Nano actually gives the Nano value because you didn't need to do this. Like you were even full health, right? You definitely do not need Annihilation here at all. You pop this because you see, hey, first of all, you haven't popped Annihilation this whole game, so you're probably itching to pop it, A. But B, you're like, oh, I can go after the supports maybe. You're like, oh, it's good Vortex. You know, you're chasing them down, right? Right, he pops Flux for some silly reason. And you're probably feeling pretty good, like, oh, I won this fight. This fight means nothing. Their spawn is right here. Like, you're popping your ultimate to basically buy yourself 15 seconds, assuming you needed ultimate to win the fight, which you didn't because it was a 5-on-4. Okay, but even let's say that you used Annihilation, wipe the whole team. It's 15 seconds for them to spawn, right? To go through the death screen, spawn, and walk back out here. Versus if you, like hypothetically, if you use Annihilation and wipe them here, you get so much more time. You get like 30 to 45 seconds. Now imagine that you also use Annihilation to stop an ultimate back here. Like let's say you use Annihilation to stop Visor, let's say. Okay, then you're looking at massive value over here because you not only basically send them back to spawn, right? They have to spend another 30, 45 seconds to get back out here, and you denied an ultimate. In this scenario, you're not denying anything. Like, your Annihilation is not stopping the Sigma from using his Nano. It literally does nothing, right? 30 damage per second is not going to stop the Sigma from doing whatever he wants to do. So, all in all, like, technically you got the kills here, but in reality, this was a really bad ultimate. Keep spamming. Yep. Keep spamming. Because now you got to farm ulti, right? Again, another example where I don't think it's the right call to pop Nemesis. First of all, there's no shield. If there's a shield here, fine, right? If he's grasping, fine. But otherwise, you can just spam here, right? Your spam does more damage than your punches do, right? Your staff does more damage than your punches do. A. B. When you turn this corner, their whole 5-man team can all shoot you, but your team cannot shoot them. So this is a very dangerous corner for you to be peeking. Right? Like imagine if you were spamming the whole time and now you have Nemesis. Now, or Nemesis in Annihilation, right? If you Nemesis Annihilation, this is a one fight. You go up forwards, you just saw Rock go off, I believe, right? Yeah, you just saw Rock go. Like you use staff, break shield right now, pop Nemesis, punch, Annihilation, kill everybody. Like that's value. Good job turning for the Sombra. Again, you're taking a lot of damage here. I would chill, but your team is just killed too, so yep, you can advance. I think it's a right idea of blocking there. Taking a lot of damage again. Just chill. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to purple you, they're going to purple you. So you're in trouble right now. So your instinct should be stand up and immediately shield yourself. Yep, good. Start the bubble dance. So you're not bubble dancing well, right? Bubble dancing like shield dancing. So when you put the shield down, your goal is not to move far away from the shield. Your goal is to stay on this side of the shield just long enough so that when the Sigma crosses over, you cross back. And you're going to watch here, the Sigma's going to push the shield, of course, because you're low. And then you're going to walk farther and farther away from the shield, which doesn't help you at all. Because as soon as he's through the shield, he can hit you no matter what. At this range, Sigma's not going to miss you. High Diamond, Low Master Sigma's not going to miss a tank at this range. So you should think, as soon as he's through the shield, he's guaranteed to hit me. Which means the only way for me to not get hit is to go back through the shield. And then you play the little dance back and forth, which is why it's called bubble dancing. It's Winston's famous for needing to do this technique in order to stay alive. But you take too much damage here. Alright, now you pop Nemesis, you try to get out, but you die. Again, totally avoidable, right? I think that you're being like super aggressive here. Right, you're already purple. Right? You're not full health. You walk through a shield, right? Big no-no as tanks. Don't walk through shields unless you really know what you're doing, Right? Your team wants to heal you. Like, your team definitely wants to heal you here. They just can't because the shield's in the way. Also, you know your team has no Suzu because they just use Suzu to cleanse your purple. They do a good job sinking, right? The rock. And here, again, I think that you had a chance of surviving here. Not a lot of chance, but like some chance if you do the bubble dance correctly to not take that hit. But then once you hit the purple, it's game over from there. I think realistically with that many people, you're probably dead no matter what. But I think the technique of understanding how to shield dance is very important. Okay, you're going to swap the Zarya here. I think your Zarya is quite good, actually. I think your tracking is really, really good. Super impressive, actually. You got to get out here. I don't think that's the right time to bubble. So at full health coming out of spawn, don't bubble these. Because you're going to need the bubble to make it like a little more space. So imagine that you have bubble now. Right? Now you can pop bubble. The thing is, you do have bubble, but now you have one fewer bubble to do anything with. Because I really want you to have the second bubble right now, even with 40 energy, so that you can start beaming people down. Go for the Sombra, force her back. I think reasonable bubble on Mei. Kill the what's it? Sigma, Ana. Yep, all fine. I wouldn't have right-clicked this Kiriko, by the way. I would have just left-clicked her because it's just more consistent when we're climbing up a wall like that. So really important as Zarya, always be spamming right clicks to farm ulti. So I can see you're trying. Aim is not ideal. So don't worry about it. Like when you kill the Sombra, not your job, right? If the Sombra one clips someone in the back, so be it. It is not your job, and it's a huge waste of bubble to turn back the bubble. So if you think, hey, there's virtually no way I'm gonna bubble someone in the back line against one Sombra, there's no point in you even looking at it. Because what are you gonna do, right? It's just wasting your time. So you want to be constantly farming grab, constantly farming grab. Right? Don't look at this. Just focus front. Yep, soldier's too far away. You should recognize, hey, the soldier's taking this angle, which is good. Good for him, right? Bad for me. I have no cover here. Right? I don't want to drop low, so I have to be already backed up to here, right? Or to here, or to the other side of the gate. With how far the card is, you're basically in one fight territory anyway. So I think that your perspective should be, hey, I only get one fight here. I might as well make it the best fight that I can. I don't want to fight here, right? This is obviously not a great fight. This also was only an okay fight. Here, fantastic. Okay, so hard from the push through, as you found out when you were on offense. So if you're only going to get one fight because of how far the payload is, recognize when to take that fight. You really want to take that fight much further on with better defense advantage. You could have killed that soldier with slightly better tracking. You should finish with right clicks, right? Always finish your mag with right clicks as Zarya. Especially considering how low that Zarya got. You could have almost... a right click plus a melee would have killed her. Because right click direct at full charge is 90 damage, plus melee is 30, was 120, she only has 100 health. So this is a huge mistake just walking backwards on a straight line. Like at this point, like you have made a big mistake being overextended, which is what I mentioned earlier, is that you just shouldn't be out this far. As soon as the soldier starts swinging wide here, you cannot play out here. You're too far away from cover. So anyway, at this point, your only options are 1, drop, which I think is a bad idea. Number 2, go this way and then drop, which I think is more reasonable. Or number 3 is if you are going to run back, zigzag on the way back to prevent yourself from getting lit up so easily. Because the whole team is not going to miss you because you're just running in a straight line. See this? Right? He's able to predict the helix and everything. Like this is a very sloppy death. And with high energy and about to have bubbles, about to have grab, super problematic. Alright, you're gonna come out here. You bubble the Cassidy. I don't think I would have bubbled him immediately. I would have waited for someone to like confirm to start shooting at him. This is a highly questionable grab. Very lucky that this sucks in anybody. Like both of these heroes walk into the grab after you've launched it already. You know, like the Sombra is literally jumping into the grab right now. The Ana's safe and then decides to walk into the grab. So I don't think this is a good grab, right? I think you just kind of fire. You're like kind of panic fire. But reality, if anything, you should have popped it over here to pull the Ana into high noon. I don't know why you're beaming your Cassidy. Wait, what? That's no good. I think you're probably thinking about bubbling him. So I like the right click melee here. Obviously you're low on ammo because you've been beaming your own teammate, but you should have beamed slightly more on the Ana before firing because you have 10 ammo left. Or done another right click before you reload. This is really good tracking. That's like basically frame perfect tracking. So in this situation, ideally kill Kiriko. Bubble is up, so I just chill. Yeah, I just wait. Right, play front side of the cart. That's the safest right now. At this point, I'd be looking for the Kiriko, because Bubble should be over, right? So I want to get over here. Ana's doing a great job keeping you alive right now. I would look for the Kiriko and see if I can beam her down. She's like super visible this whole period of time. I don't know why she sues herself. Okay, so Soldier's 105 health. This is doable. What you need to do, because you're high charge, which makes it doable. Even with no bubble, this is doable. What you need to do is you need to right-click around the corner as he comes up. That's going to hit him for 90 damage, and then you beam him down in 1 second. That's the way that you do this. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard, right? But you also may not necessarily need to do all the damage yourself, right? You might even die, but have your teammates get the kill. That's fine. But your number one goal is you have to kill the soldier. Every soldier in the world, once Visor is popped right here, I mean, this is a bad Visor, but once Visor's popped here, you know he's going to run to get around the cart. Like, you know. You can hear it coming. You can hear the soldier footsteps. You shouldn't be shooting right now. You should have already right-clicked and started the beam. Because look, this reload here is even worse. Like, you still have ammo. You have 70 ammo right now, and you're reloading with a visoring soldier on the final point of the game. With 67 health. This is not the time to reload. All you need to do at this point is ideally right-click initially and then beam him down right now. And look how low you get him, even though you made many mistakes in this process. Like, you could easily have killed this soldier with just slightly better mechanics in this situation. Alright. So they're going to end up capping with 2 minutes. Definitely a tough time. You come out as Rammatra. I think this is a much better Vortex, right? The Sigma's clearly trying to back up. You slowed him. You get a really good opportunity. Like, this value right there, the ding, 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 ding for the headshot's great. Thrilled. Love to see that. I don't think the shield is so great here. I think that I probably would have saved shield for either high ground, like once I see this Ashe, and shielded it in front of her, or shielded behind the Sigma to prevent her from getting healed. Because if I shield behind the Sigma, I can keep pressuring the Sigma continually and hopefully force out Grasp. That's what I really want to do, is force out Grasp. Right, zap, 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 right? Throw the shield behind him, keep zapping him, right? Zap, 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 reload, zap, 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 just keep zapping him. Like, you're just cranking out damage. Because by doing that, the Sigma is either going to have to Grasp, or the Ana's going to get nervous and step forward to try to get around the shield to heal the Sigma. Which is great, because that pulls her out of position and makes her vulnerable to your DPS. Widow gets a kill, great. Another great example where I don't think you should Nemesis. I think you should be shooting with your staff right now. You know, because remember, staff does more damage to tanks than punching does. I know you're not like great at aiming the staff, but I think even then, your average damage on staff, I think is going to be higher than with your punches. So, I would have forced them back with staff, right? And then, right, did that with like, I don't know, 75 ammo remaining? More maybe? Yeah, 79. It's 79 ammo, right? Just shoot out the full 100 ammo and then start moving this way. Oh, what is going on with the payload? Oh, is it the Sombra messing around with it? Wait, no, they don't even have a Sombra. Why is nobody moving the payload the whole game? Yeah, damn. Okay, well, that's not really on you. That's weird. Okay. So, you're going to get low here. Obviously, you recognize, hey, look, you got to look back and be like, the cart's really far, surprisingly far away for the stage of the game. It's not really your fault. I would say definitely not your fault. Okay. Break the shield. Again, another example where you decide to start punching. Just finish the staff ammo, right? Force that Grasp out, right? You get the kill here because they, similar to your team, the Ana is out of position and unable to heal their Sigma, which is a big mistake. But you're able to capitalize on it, which is great. You got 2 supports here. Do you know that she has sleep or not? I think, yeah, you would have heard the sleep. Yeah, so now you know I don't have to shield anything. The only thing ability she might have right now is grenade. But, like, I don't need to shield off the grenade because I'm not in the threat of dying. So what I would do here is I would toss Vortex, right? I would toss Vortex. I probably wouldn't bother with shield and just shoot her while running this way. And then as I'm going towards the Mercy, then I switch my aim. So it would look something like this, right? Vortex, attack, 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 switch aim. Now the Mercy is going to Guardian Angel towards the Ana because that's the only relevant target. As she Guardian Angels, I pop Nemesis, I chase her down and kill her. Right? That's the play here. So your Vortex is off. The Mercy flies into Vortex. Not killing her here is a travesty. Like, you just over-aim, and then you're under-aiming the other way, and just not get the kill. So, soldiers on your left, you got 2 supports and an Ashe on your right. What's your job? Your job is not to kill a soldier. There's like, it's gonna, if you start running towards the soldier's gonna run away from you. You know, like that's just not a viable thing for you to deal with. You just kind of need to trust the rest of your team is going to deal with him. You need to A, get healed, and B, push this area and gotten control of Mega by now. Right? Now you pop Nemesis. Now look, you've already wasted half of Nemesis and done absolutely nothing. Now you've wasted 3/4 of Nemesis, and now you've wasted all of Nemesis. Similar to Winston wasting bubbles, you cannot waste Nemesis form. If you waste Nemesis form, you're gonna lose games. That's just like the hard, honest truth of it is that if you can use Nemesis form and you're like, wow, I got no value out of that, I expect that I'm gonna lose the game. Because every Nemesis form has to help you take space. Because your regular staff form is not particularly strong, other than dealing damage to tanks, so and snipers who are standing still. You should have used the Nemesis to force all 3 of these back around the corner. Right? And forced out bubbles or whatever else is here, taken Mega Control, and then left and come back to the cart. That's what should have happened with your Nemesis. Soldiers here. Again, you're like way too early to pop the shield. Like, he's not even hitting you, really. Right? He missed you with Helix, 391. He's clearly running away. And then you pop shield, which is a massive waste of a shield. I think it's the right call to not pursue through that room, by the way. I think that it would be tough for that to happen. So, right here, again, you got a full staff. Like, Zarya has bubble right now. Like, I think that I would try to throw Vortex here, pull the Mercy down to the ground, start attacking her with staff, put Nemesis on as she GAs, follow her with Nemesis, then pop ulti once I get over here. So, again, starting from here, I see the Mercy's up in the sky to the right. Right? I would not have papped Nemesis right now. Right here, I'm like, okay, the Mercy's made a mistake because I saw her GA over and she's landed on the ground. I throw Nemesis forwards. I start walking up. Or sorry, I throw Vortex on the ground. So right here, right, I throw Vortex on the ground. I start attacking her with the staff. I start getting beamed, right? That would probably drop me to like 300-ish health. Then I pop Nemesis and start punching the Mercy. Punch, 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 punch. The Mercy virtually guaranteed is going to fly this way. As she flies through the air, then I pop Nemesis, or I pop Annihilation, and then kill her and kill everybody else. So, same general idea, but like a little more efficient with my strategy. I think the Ana is not doing a good job healing the Mercy. Because there's no reason that she should die here from just that, right? You see? Like, you get 4 punches in here, in front, on a Mercy in front of the Ana without her reacting at all. Punch, punch, right? Like, she had so many opportunities to save the Mercy here, which is why I don't think at higher ranks, like, this is going to be a consistent play, which is why I recommended the way that I did it. Be careful about jumping, it throws off your own aim. Because you never know when one punch doesn't kill him and then you end up losing a game over it. Again, another spam Vortex, do not recommend that. It just doesn't do enough damage for even to be worth it. You should, right, with point capped, climb left, go over here, take this bridge. That's what you should already have done by now, instead of standing low ground, which is a mistake. Is what it is, right? Like, what are you going to do about it? So just going to get rezzed. So you see how useless you are down here? This is the problem. You should have already been standing where they are. Not like this side, but like over here, preventing them from easily taking that space. Now they have open access to your backline. You can climb up here. Your staff spam, again, not great. You want a shield? You should not have dropped. I have no idea why you drop here. Like, this is your job to push in this team, force cooldowns, right? Zap, 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 Nemesis, and then drop if you absolutely need to. But right now, dropping early, huge mistake. Another Vortex I don't feel like is great value. Again, the Vortex, even if it lands dead on the Ana, like, she's inside of the room. So, no one can follow up on this kill, and 15 damage a second is nothing. Versus, right, Vortexing this Ashe out here and making the shot easier for your Widow. Does she get the kill anyway? She does. But you didn't know that, right? So, Vortex people who can be killed. Think of it like Grav, right? Like, unless I'm planning on getting the kill or doing the damage, I need to Vortex people where my team can assist. Good tracking on the Mercy. Honestly, the Mercy doesn't look that good. There's a lot of options to get away there. So, you're probably like, oh, what the heck's going on? It should be a 4-on-4 right now. You Vortex off the supports, which I understand, but recognizing that the Zarya is pushing into my backline, I think I Vortex the Zarya. I also think the Zarya has no bubbles, correct. So I think I vortex the Zarya here and start shooting her in the head, which immediately is either A, she keeps going and she dies because I'm just cranking out 200 damage a second to her at point blank, because it's really easy to do it when she is slowed, or she backs off and stays on the other side of the shield, which is still a win for me. Both of those are wins for me, right? But that vortex over there, not great. Right? See how much damage you did to Diana, or to the Zarya? Like, imagine if you did that on the other side of a shield in vortex, doing even more damage. Granted, Nano probably still saves her, but just something to think about. Trying to go for the Ana. So she misses sleep. You are really gambling here on the sleeps. So you get very low here. You're already at 490, 450. The Zarya's behind you, beaming you down, and your supports are not able to keep up with the damage. If Ana hits sleep here, and then also has nade, you're dead. But very lucky that she misses the sleep. Alright, this is a good vortex. Good melee finish kill. You're gonna shoot the Bob. There's no need to crouch here. The Bob's not gonna miss you. You vortex off top right, and then you're gonna end up capping here. Okay, so you vortex the Ana here. Attack, 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 attack. For the record, the Mercy's in your face right now. I would not be going for the Ana because the Mercy's going back to heal the Ana. As soon as the Mercy turns here, forget the Ana, kill the Mercy. Right? One of the best things to think about is for killing supports is which one of them is more consistently good at healing. For example, Lucio doesn't miss healing. Moira rarely misses healing. Brig rarely misses healing. Ana definitely can miss healing, right? Definitely can miss healing. Even Kiriko can miss healing with auto track, right? So recognizing, hey, there's two supports here. The Mercy is 100% gonna heal the Ana, but the Ana might not heal the Mercy. So your perspective should be attack the more vulnerable of the two supports. All else being equal, of course. She pops out, great. Best way to deny this is do absolutely nothing. Don't stay, don't fight out here, because like your team's gonna be back here. You should know the door's just opened, which means the cart's still way back. I gotta get back. I do not want to lose charge. Right? Worst possible thing is to lose charge here. Back off. Another not great vortex, I would have saved it. The Zarya's probably low on bubbles right now. Right? I would force out the next bubble and then vortex her and then kill her. Right? Imagine you'd vortex right now. Like the Zarya never gets away in this situation. Right? Vortex plus Nemesis plus Annihilation, everyone dies. Now you pop Annihilation. This is very risky because you're way around the corner and you see your team's like rushing to try and catch up with you. It's gonna end up working out in your favor, but I would note that that was a very risky play. Saying that, this is a good vortex on the left door. So, one thing I would note, you don't really have time for it here, but if you do have time, climbing up and taking their high ground, very, very, very powerful. Alright, so let's go back here. So Zarya's gonna grab. That's fine, right? No big deal. Just block, Yeah. You vortex the Zarya, she's probably not gonna die. Right, and then you end up dying. So now you're gonna go Rein here. I don't really know why you went Rein. I feel like this is probably like the like Rein counters Zarya, which I don't think is really the case. I don't think he doesn't I don't think he's not playable against Zarya. I just don't think that Rein counters Zarya in the way that people think of counters. So you try to really send it down main here, which is very dangerous. The golden rule for Rein is when you are out of armor, chill, right? Play slow at that point. You're out of armor right now. At which point you should be like, oh, maybe I should shield and like stay here and like or like just hold shield and give my supports a chance to heal me. If I'm not being healed, there's a reason. Probably because the supports haven't gotten here yet. Now you're purple and now you die. So like that type of instinct, very, very important to cultivate as Rein. I wouldn't waste Fire Strike on her, just swing at her. Because you really need to farm ulti with those Fire Strikes. This is the most telegraphed Fire Strike in this Zarya's career. Like, this is the easy, like, she knows, hey, straight line, moving backwards, teammates probably behind me, Fire Strike's coming. So I would try to avoid Fire Striking the bubble if absolutely possible, right? You could, for example, Fire Strike top left, or just save it and walk up close, swing at the Zarya, bait bubble out, and then Fire Strike after. You got a lot of options here, but, like, this Fire Strike, no good. Good job breaking hack. So I would not play on top of cart. Like, you're not gaining any meaningful advantage here. I would think about kidnap, getting behind the Zarya. Right now, I'm charging the Zarya. 100%. Bubble or no, I charge her right now. Big mistake in not charging right there. Alright, Also, big mistake not fire striking when you get the chance. Right there, fire strike. And then next one, fire strike again. But one fire strike would have resulted in her dying. Now you have no shield. You charge in here. Extremely lucky to get the Sombra after she gets EMP'd. I assume that was Suzu that saved her. And then Pharah ultis, and then you're in retreat mode, which I think is the right call. So yeah, I don't think Rein is unplayable on this map for sure. It really depends on how much they're contesting high ground. And they do have a Pharah standing up there. The Sombra's sort of up there too. I think that D.Va or Winston are reasonable choices here, even against the Zarya, and just focus on her backline versus trying to kill her specifically. So right here, right, track bubbles. How long's it been? So I'm gonna walk up. Have I seen any bubbles? No. Zarya's got 2 bubbles then. She very luckily does not, but I would assume she has 2 bubbles. She's gonna have 2 bubbles by the next time we check it. Yeah, she's almost 2 bubbles. Right? So I assume she has 2 bubbles. Right? I know you're trying to force it. Hitting her with 1 hammer swing, not a big deal, right? It's 200 health to give her max charge. Hitting her with 85 damage, don't worry about it. Like, obviously for Fire Strike, you're like, oh, I don't want to hit her with Fire Strike. It's less about the damage to her, and it's more about not being able to farm ult charge from hitting non-bubble targets. Yep, swing. So she's at 2 bubbles right now. You have not seen the bubbles in a while. So, yep, first bubble out. That broke instantly. Right. She hasn't bubbled in a while, so she's got 2 bubbles, right? You see the first bubble pop, and like that's your read, and I understand that, but she had 2 bubbles because you hadn't seen her pop it in a long time. She gets a bubble every 11 seconds now, pretty fast. So you gotta know she's got the 2nd bubble already, and that's one of the things where I'm like, hey, she knows what she's doing. Like this is definitely a reactive shatter. She knows it's coming the whole time. She's just looking at you exclusively, even though she could have shot the soldier. She's trying to force it out. She should finish right click. Yep, blocks it. Shatter, you're in. Grab pop. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot you can do against higher energy Zarya. Pocketed, and then one of the most defensive favored maps or points in the game. Like at this point, you're pretty screwed. I understand going Zarya, but I don't think you have enough time to farm ulti. And without ulti, you're just not going to have enough value. Going Zarya against Zarya, going the mirror matchup late sucks because they have energy and you don't. Right? This Zarya is walking around with 80 energy and you're walking around with 19 energy. It's just so hard to come back from this right now unless you're mechanically way better than them. And I do not think that is the case, unfortunately. Yeah, Soldier's going to die here. Right, Nano gets popped. Yeah, there's not a lot that you can do in this situation. Like, no matter what you do, it's gonna go poorly. Okay, let's cover questions. Bad awareness. I don't know that it feels like a general awareness. I feel like you generally know where people are. I don't think you know where to go. That's the bigger problem, is that you don't know where to go and when to go as a tank. That feels like much more of the problem. Like, yeah, there's occasional, like, oh, like, why are you going? You're down, like, one, two people. But, like, when and where to go is much more of a problem. What are the people for the backline? I think it's fine. Like, I don't feel like that was a major theme through this, where I'm like, oh, like, you're constantly letting your backline die to the Zarya walking over you. Like, that was not happening, right? Like, your backline, for example, at first point, your backline's dying because you're not creating enough space. But that has nothing to do with peeling. Like, I agree that throughout the game, you're definitely not creating enough space, which is why your backline dies. Balancing aggression, I think it was okay. I mean, I don't think you were overly aggressive. Obviously, you overextend sometimes, but that felt less like being overly aggressive and just not being aware of your limits, per se. Like, just understanding, like, oh, this is a dangerous corner. I can't be playing in the open, in the road on final Havana 3rd point. Mechanics of tanks definitely could use some improvement there. We talked about, like, vortex usage, for example, and then, I mean, Rein, like, you didn't really do a lot of Rein, so I'm, like, not even going to bother reviewing the Rein, because, like, mostly you just held your shield there and, like, swung a little bit, and then, like, got rolled by a high-energy Zarya. That was really hard to deal with. So I'm not going to focus on the Rein at all. So on Rammatra, Vortex for sure, when to pop Nemesis form, we covered a lot, and then having bad Annihilations, we also covered a lot. Under Zarya, like, your tracking's pretty good. Bubble usage is fine. I would say, like, very, on an A to F scale, I would say, like B plus, A minus, like, generally you're always getting
value out of them. I think the thing is that you're not being conservative enough in terms of using the bubbles to push and kill the enemy. Like, if you watch my Zarya videos, you'll see like my Zarya gameplay guide. You'll see moments where I'm like, okay, cool. Like I have high energy. I save both bubbles. Now I just walk over the opposing team. Right? I attack them until they're forced to attack me. Then even then I don't bubble because my supports can keep healing me until the damage I take is faster, like more than I'm getting healed. Then I pop bubble, and I've already been beaming them for like 50, 75 ammo at this point, so I'm going to get a kill. I reload, pop my second bubble because I'm being attacked, and get a second kill. Like, those are plays that you're not really pulling off as Zarya, because you don't have to flow down well enough on Zarya. It's like when you can be really, really aggressive. Knowing when to ignore the tank. I think you're fine. Like, obviously, I think you went for backline when backline was available. They had pretty good long distance supports, so you didn't really get those opportunities other than when the Mercy was flying around making a lot of mistakes, and I think you killed the Mercy. I think that's definitely not the problem. I think your issues rely on mostly on like the overall space creation, some of which comes down to mechanics like staff versus nemesis, some and vortex. Some of it comes down to being aggressive enough and knowing when to aggress, and some of it comes down to forcing multiple fights per point, which I think you were really bad at. Very, very problematic. You effectively went through like 3 teamfight losses and lost the whole game. That's really hard to recover from. It doesn't give your team a lot of chances to make a comeback. Okay, cool. I'm going to pause there. Hopefully this was helpful.